Welcome to Nugg Talk.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Nugg Talk, a weekly podcast where we talk about everything going on in the NBA, but more specifically, everything going on with your Denver Nuggets. I'm your host, Loki, here once again with my co-host, Phil. Phil, how's it going?
I'm sad.
I know. But the injury bug has bit us at a terrible time, and it took all of our defense.
Yeah, it bit us in a really inopportune way.
It literally took all of our defensive players, but we'll get to that. First, though, good news. Jokic has made it to the All-Star game. First time he is in the starter for the All-Star game, though. Mm-hmm. He got the second most votes from fans, players, and media members. He got second in all of those, only behind LeBron for front court players, which is good. Mm-hmm. Shows that he's gained his respect.
Deserved respect.
Deserved respect. Other people who got in were LeBron got in, obviously. Luka got in. Steph got in. Kawhi got in. Mm-hmm. And on the east side, it was Giannis, KD, Kyrie, Beal. Who was the one I'm missing?
It's not Harden.
Joel Embiid.
The most deserving one.
Joel Embiid's the other one. Okay. Well, there we go. So that was the 5 for that. So for that, that All-Star game is happening. They're doing pre-game 3-point contest and skills challenge.
I guess.
And then halftime dunk contest, which doesn't sound fun for anyone.
No
one has committed to any of those except for Damian Lillard. He is the only one who's committed to the 3-point contest. I mainly think he did because he's saying, no matter what, I'm fucking going there, and you guys are going to make me make sure I go there. So that's why he did that, but he's doing that, but no one's done anything else. I don't know what's going to happen with those. How do you feel for Jokic to gain his first start, the first person to do it for the Nuggets since Melo in 2011?
It was super deserved. He's the first Nugget to get 3 All-Star appearances in a row since Alex English, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Melo did not do that because of injuries and getting traded. But it was super well deserved. I would have been really disappointed if it was Anthony Davis, and I was really worried that it was going to be.
Yeah.
But then he kind of hasn't been playing well, and then he got hurt, so I think that basically locked it.
Yeah, he did get hurt, and he hasn't been playing super well. He's been in and out of games, and Jokic is having an MVP caliber season,
mm-hmm.
so at least he got his just deserves. I mean, I'm happy the fans gave it to him. I was shocked the media members voted him second for front court. I did not think they would. But no, I'm very glad that he did it. He's well deserved. He's the best center in basketball. He's playing like a top 5 player this year. He's doing very good things. I mean, again, he is our team this year. Without him, we don't play well. And, if he's not playing well, we don't play well. So he is our team. I mean, it makes sense for him to be there. I'm interested to see which team he goes on, whether it's Team KD or Team LeBron. The past 2 years, he's been on Team LeBron, but KD's making picks this year, and he's not going to be as bad as Giannis was at making picks. Mm-hmm. Granted, KD will probably pick Kyrie if LeBron doesn't pick Kyrie with the first pick, even though that would be kind of funny if LeBron picked Kyrie with the first pick, knowing their history and their newfound beef with each other. But I would assume that LeBron probably picks Jokic, but we'll see. We'll also see the reserves be announced. I think the reserves are announced this Thursday. Jamal will definitely not make it.
No.
But
unless a billion people opt out.
Yeah, like these last couple of games have shown that he could have, but he didn't do it all year, so that's on him. So that was major news. Now, other news in our division is the Timberwolves have finally fired Saunders. They decided to move on from the youngest coach in the NBA, mainly because I think he was too young to coach in the NBA, and that team has been playing terribly. They actually hired a former assistant of ours, and Chris Finch, who was literally assistant coaching a game last night for the Raptors, and then after that, I guess got hired immediately. I don't know. It was a pretty quick turnaround, but I guess he's going to immediately start up. What do you think about them finally moving on, getting a coach who has helped in the past with the development of Nikola Jokic? What do you think was their thought process of getting a new coach and everything?
I feel like they gave this Flip Saunders guy a chance. I mean, he's like the son of a Timberwolves great, isn't he?
Yeah, so he's the son of Flip Saunders. I forget his name, but yeah, he's the son of him. He was only like 34. He's younger. LeBron was playing the game against him, and LeBron's older than him.
Okay.
So he's just a great.
I mean, I want to say I'm scared, but I'm not. But they're really talented, but they're trying to trade Malik Beasley, maybe just because of the character issues.
I think that's it. And also Anthony Edwards. It's not bad.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards deserves to start over him. So
he had a dunk of the year. So.
Neither of them can play point guard. Yeah, I think. I mean, it's a good hire. I like this. This guy is a good coach. He's won a championship, I think, with the Toronto Raptors, right?
I don't think so. No, he was on our team around that point, or he was on another team. He's been an assistant coach for a long time. He was with our team. He was key in the development of our centers. So I think that was their main reason for doing it, is they wanted to make sure that they build this team kind of around Karl Anthony Towns, make him as happy as possible. He's probably not happy at all, not even including the things that have happened to him off the court, which have been terrible for him this past year. But I'm sure he's not happy with the current situation. He wasn't happy with where the franchise was heading. And they know that his contract is running up, and eventually he's going to try to leave or ask for a trade. So I think they just did this last-ditch effort, say, hey, we got the guy who, quote-unquote, helped develop Nikola Jokic. How much of it was him? How much of it was Nikola? How much of it was Malone? We don't know.
We'll see.
But, I mean, he was, like, basically our center's coach. So that's why they did. Good for Chris Finch. I mean, it's been a long time coming for him to be a head coach. He's been an assistant coach for many, many years. Am I worried? Not necessarily, but we'll see how their system changes, how their offense changes. I'm sure that they'll make personnel moves now, especially at the deadline, because I'm sure he'll come in and not like some of the players he has, or wants to get in some of his guys that he wants. So I wouldn't be shocked if Malik Beasley's traded, which if he is, then again, that confirms that we won that trade. Even though we didn't really get anything out of it either, but at least we didn't have to waste money on Malik, which seems not like a lost cause, but he does have issues off the court. So, but hey, Timberwolves, new era. Hopefully they still suck. That's all I can ask for. And now on to the bad stuff, but at least it starts off with a good win. We'll talk about our last 5 games, which were not fun, except for the first one. The first one, we did play the Lakers at home after winning 2 games in a row. We went up against them. AD did get hurt in this game, but granted, we were without Gary and PJ. And I think Paul also got hurt in this game for us. This is the game where he hurt his knee because he banged it against like Caruso's knee. First looked like a stinger, and then it became a strain. He was out. A lot of people went down in this game. A lot of people were out of this game. But we manhandled them basically for the most part. Zeke had an amazing game. Jokic had great games. Who would you give MVP to?
I'll give it to Jokic. He got a triple-double. Zeke was clutch, though, and so was Facu, actually. Facu also deserves consideration.
Yes, Facu has been playing extremely well this past couple games, and that was kind of the start of it for sure. I definitely would give it just to Zeke, just because kind of came out, played pretty good defense, on LeBron. Even though LeBron wasn't trying super hard in this game, I think they were exhausted from their overtime games, which I said they probably would have been, and I think that was very clear to see that they were pretty tired. But at the same time, he still played pretty good defense, hit a couple shots. It was good to kind of see him come in there in that situation and do well. Granted, it was a good win. You're not going to apologize for it, but there was no AD. So it makes the win.
He left at like the third quarter or something.
Yeah, he left at the third quarter. We were winning, but that is our bad quarter. It's the quarter we're not good at. So it changes a couple of things, makes you think about it. But at least we won that. What was it? So we won that 122-105. Overall, I would say good game. Good use of the players we did have. Good defense. Jamal, that was Jamal's also first game of his kind of start back up where he's playing really well and everything like that. Had 25 points, 10 from 3. He looked good. But yeah, overall, good bench performance, good player performance. We looked like we were, getting hot, gained some steam, won 3 in a row, went to Boston. Gary was still out. PJ was out. Paul was out. Everybody was out in this game. We go into Boston. It's a pretty close game at halftime. And then again, another bad third quarter. And then we just lose it because Jaylen Brown was too much. But Jokic did have 43 points in this game. Jamal Murray had 25. Again, looked pretty well, but he did have 9 turnovers. But I would put this game on MPJ.
Yeah.
He didn't show up in this game. He had 0 points, 0 of 8 shooting, 0 of 5 from 3. He looked terrible. This is the continuation of what was happening last week that we were talking about. He's having a pretty bad run right now as of late. But that game was definitely on him. If he just showed up at all in that game, we could have won that one.
I think we would have, yeah.
But he just did not show up, and Jaylen Brown kept making clutch shots.
That's the story of our season also.
Yeah, the thing is annoying is usually two guys are on and the rest of the team is not. I just want 3 guys to be on and maybe the rest of the team's not or something like that. But it was unfortunate. But at least Jokic looked good. Jamal looked good. And then this game was infuriating. We went on to play the Wizards on a back-to-back. It was a blowout in the first quarter. We went up 41-24 then the first quarter. Second quarter, we completely lose all energy. People don't care to play anymore. It just looks like they didn't give a goddamn crap about the game. They were just like, I don't care. Let's just lose this. They scored 46 points on us in the second quarter. We only scored 23. And then we tried our best to come back. There was some questionable calls at the end. But what do you think overall about this game? Knowing that also Gary came back in this game and then probably shouldn't have because he overexerted himself and now he's hurt again. And Jermichael got hurt in this game with a shoulder injury. What are your overall thoughts about this game?
This game sucked. I was not happy about just everything about the result of this game. Especially because this was like the beginning of what like looks like not even the beginning, but it's like a big jump in what looks like the return of the Jamal Murray we want to see. He scored 35 and it didn't even matter. And we've had a few games like that and it's pretty disappointing.
Yeah, and he had 19 of those 35 in the fourth quarter. So kind of like similar to Bubble Murray days where he was doing that, being really clutch in the fourth quarter. Yeah, he played super well. He had 35, 5 out of 10 from 3, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. Really good game. Jokic had 33. MPJ had kind of a bounce-back-ish game. Still didn't look good, though. I personally, if you watched it, I think MPJ was another reason, again, why we lost this game. He's so bad at defense sometimes, and also his shot decisions are just not great. A lot of those shots that he missed were terrible shots. That, again, Jokic got frustrated with. People got frustrated with. But, again, he's a young kid. He's learning. We got to give him that room to grow and learn, but it does seem like maybe there's going to be tighter leashes on him with these mistakes and stuff because of how our season's panning out with how we're playing and everything like that. Shout out, though, to Facu on this game. Facu was probably our third best player out there in this game, played exceptionally well defense, ran the offense super well, had 14 points. Facu was great in this game, so I want to give a shout out to him. But what do you think about those 2 questionable calls that were right calls, according to the last 2-minute report, but there was an illegal screen on Facu on the last play? It's
always call fair game. Like, why is this so hard? Just make the right calls. I know it's hard, but like, if you're gonna let one slide, then you can't just call everything on the other side. I thought the second foul where Beal fell down, I thought that was a foul. I thought the one before was not. Yeah. This is just an infuriating loss, but like it's tough to blame the refs. We didn't really deserve to win this game.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, we don't deserve to win that game, and I don't want to make excuses like, oh, the refs lost it for us. We lost that game. We should not be in that position to lose that game, especially after the first quarter we had. We blew that game completely.
Especially against the Wizards.
Yeah, against the Wizards. This is by far the worst loss of the season. It's not even close. And I know a lot of people were out, but it doesn't matter. Like, this is not a good team. I know they've beaten some good teams, but like we started off so well that we should not have blown that game. Yep. They just let off the gas, which I was worried that they would do. And then they came back and they just never looked back and they took the game. Granted, with you, I don't think the call on Bertans was the right call. I think he kicked out his foot a little bit. I don't think it was a natural shooting motion, but the NBA said no, it was. So what do I know, I guess. But the last one was definitely a foul on Jermichael Green. He jumped into him. Now, granted, I feel bad that he got a lot of hate comments and things along those lines.
Yeah, that's nuts.
From fans from that, but I hope he didn't take those too personally. I think he's still having a great season, even though it's starting to get a little bit more rough. But, I mean, everyone's getting kind of banged up. Everyone's playing a little bit harder. It's harder with people out and not similar rotations and things along those lines. But there's never reason to send hate comments or anything along those lines to players. So, sucks for Jermichael Green for sure. Mm-hmm. But overall, yeah, worst game of the season. That's the worst loss. There's no that one's just if they didn't have effort to come back after that one and play in the next game, it would have been something really wrong with this team. Luckily, they did. And then we went on to play Cleveland that Friday. We won that 120-103. Jamal had his career high of 50. He he's back. I think we can officially say he's back. He was the MVP of that game. What are your thoughts now, knowing that Jamal Murray? I don't even know if he's healthy, but he
looks good.
He's back.
It just makes me want to get healthy, because now it's starting to shape up to the team that I'm like envisioned that it could have become, but we just haven't been able to put it all together yet. And I don't know what the exact numbers are, but I feel as though being fully healthy with Gary, PJ, Jamichael, and Paul, all with everyone else who's currently playing, I feel like that's happened not very often. I feel like when PJ was playing with Jamichael, MPJ was out, and then PJ got hurt as MPJ was coming back. So I just kind of feel like it should have been we still don't really know what this team is yet, and I'm hoping we can get healthy soon and then go from there. There's still some holes that need to be addressed, but I don't know. It seems like a lot of players are starting to hit their stride, and now we're just not fully healthy.
Yeah, it is unfortunate because also in that game, MPJ started to look better, play better. He had a good beginning of it. He had a lot of points in the first half. Kind of dozed off a little bit in the second half, but at least, he had a good start and he ended up having a good game. Jokic had a triple-double. If those three guys are playing well, we should usually beat anyone. But, granted, when our four best defenders are out, so we don't have PJ, we don't have Gary, we don't have Jamichael Green, we don't have Paul Millsap. And these all four are for probably the foreseeable future, because Gary aggravated his hip injury, which is not good ever to hear. PJ's been out forever with that knee of his. Jamichael just recently got hurt, and Paul's also a knee, and he's also an aged player. So, it takes him a little bit longer recovery. You got to be a little bit more careful with him. So these guys are probably out for the foreseeable future, and those are our four primary defenders. All of them play defense. Now, granted, just because those guys are out, we still beat the Cavs, which is a team we should beat. There's still times where we should beat the teams we should beat.
Just like the Wizards, too.
Yeah, like the Wizards. We should have beat them. But it is going to be a tough stretch with those guys out, because there are our defense. We have to really rely on Jokic to carry us home, or Jamal to carry us home. We're going to need some 30-point, 40-point performances from these guys to really carry us through going forward. Unfortunately, they didn't do that in the next game where we played the Hawks, and our defense was just abysmal. I know it only came down to being an 8-point loss or something like that, but that game was absolutely atrocious. Once again, Clint Capella just destroyed us, had 20. Trae Young had, I think, 30. There was no defense being played by anyone. No one seemed to care. We didn't actually even get back in it until we started putting in some of the younger guys, and Facu, who wanted to actually play and showed up with energy and things like this. And I think it's just, I don't know what the thing is with this team at this point. I feel like the bench always, the bench doesn't always play well, but at least the bench, I feel like, always gives more energy than the starters.
That's what I get the vibe too.
But I just don't know what to do at this point. I mean, Will Barton came back and he's been actually playing decently well, but it hasn't done anything to help. What are your thoughts, before we talk about the games coming up, about how we can, stay alive while those guys are all out? Because we have to figure out something to make this work.
Honestly, you have to play your best players. I kind of take that back. You have to play your best defenders, I feel. I feel like even if they're not great, you have to play your best defenders. And I feel like as far as healthy players go right now, one of our best defenders is probably RJ Hampton. Maybe Zeke, not really.
No, Zeke's definitely not a good defender. Zeke got torched a
Monte,
lot
maybe. But Monte's really small. Facu's a good defender, but he's really small. We don't have any big guy to bully someone in the paint. And even when we're fully healthy, we really don't have that.
I mean, Greg Willington wasn't supposed to be that with Jamichael. You said that he's supposed to be coming back soonish.
When they said he was out, they said his timetable was 4 to 6 weeks. That was 5 weeks ago. Okay. So
maybe we'll hear an update on him. It would be nice just to get another body, especially with everyone out. So if he did come in, nice to see what he can do.
He's definitely gonna get a role now with our injuries.
Exactly.
Too.
And maybe he could bring a spark, so that'd be great to see. RJ definitely playing with great energy on defense. He's still learning too. He's not gonna have perfect defense, but he's playing great. Huge shout-outs this week to Facu and Monte,
Facu's
though.
Been great, yeah. And so is Monte.
Monte and Facu have been great. Those two have always come up to play with all of these guys out. They're trying to give max effort. Now, granted, are they coming with the stats every night? No, but they're coming with the energy every night. And
lately,
composure.
Facu has been.
Yeah, and Facu is coming with a lot. I mean, and Monte was the best player last night for me against the Atlanta Hawks. Monte was the only one who showed up, and I think gave a crap about winning that game, to be honest. No offense to the starters, but Jokic didn't show up, and if Jokic doesn't show up, you're not going to win many games, especially with all those guys out. So that was already something against us. Jamal played really well in that game. I'll give Jamal his credit. He had 30.
Yeah, Jokic struggled in this game.
But, I mean, we knew that Jokic was going to struggle. He doesn't do good against Capella.
It's true.
That's like his kryptonite. It's like the secret that no one knows about. If anyone wanted to beat us, if Utah wanted to beat us, they should go get Capella instead of Gobert. It would work a lot better for them. And I say that with all honesty. I genuinely believe that Capella, we can never beat a team he's on.
It's true.
It's insane. The only time we beat Houston when he was on that team was when he wasn't playing. It's not a good matchup for Jokic for some reason. But even then, again, I feel like it was more energy. These guys aren't bringing it. They just seem kind of, I guess, it's hard. You're going to be down in this type of season where you can't really see your family that much. The travel kind of sucks. You're locked up in your hotel room.
Less days off.
Fans. You're isolated, no fans. All of these things, they add up to not only, just like the physical wear and tear of, NBA season, but the mental wear and tear. So I get it. It's hard to bring that energy and stuff, but they got to figure out ways to do it because other teams are doing it. And, I know the injury bug is probably not helping either when you keep seeing guys going down and you keep realizing, I'm going to have to play more and more minutes or we're going to have to figure new things out or new rotations. It's not fun when you don't have that consistency. But at this point, Malone's got to speak to them and get them going and things along those lines. People have said, a lot of Nuggets fans want more and more MPJ. Malone keeps taking MPJ away. What are your thoughts on MPJ? Because he's had an up and down week, but the past 2 weeks have been bad overall.
I really don't care. You drafted this guy to be your third option on a championship team. Maybe even some people had aspirations for him to be even more than that. You started Jamal Murray from his rookie year on in order to develop him. You started Nikola Jokic from his rookie year on when we finally realized that, okay, this guy could be pretty good right away. Why are you starting a 31-year-old Will Barton over a guy who's 22 and learning how to play the game? Best way to learn how to play the game is to play.
Sure.
And if he's playing 15 minutes a night, that'll help, but it's not enough, especially for a guy who's going to be starting in this league, hopefully.
But you can also make the case that he has been starting, and he hasn't been playing a lot of good games. Now, granted, I'm with you on the side of I'd rather he just play and learn through it.
It's the only way he's going to play better is if he plays through it.
To me at this point, and it's not me saying I give up on the season, but to me at this point, it just seems like no matter what, this is kind of a throwaway year. Now, not saying that because I don't think we can get far in the playoffs. I think once we get healthy and, see how things go, I think this team could definitely compete. But we haven't been healthy, like you said, at all year. It's very rare that we've had the whole team healthy. Actually, we never had the full team healthy because Greg Wayington has never been healthy. So I would like just to have everyone healthy and everyone just ready to go and play. It'd be good to see. But for me, it's kind of just a throwaway year because the Lakers and the Nets are the clear-cut favorites this year.
It'd be pretty surprising if they aren't meeting in the finals.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be those guys. Granted, AD's injury does change things, but he's not out. I did tell you, you never want AD to get severely injured or anything like that, but I did say during that game when he went out, if he went out and he tore his Achilles, let's say, which we didn't want, but let's say that did happen because a lot of people thought that's what happened when he went out. They didn't think it was the calf injury. But let's say he was out. I told you at that point, I want to go all in on the season at that point because then it was open. It was open to go get a championship. It wasn't like the Lakers are heavy favorites at that point. Anyone could have got it from the West if AD was out for the season. He wasn't. So that changed my mindset back to let's just develop these guys as much as we can this year. Let's try to get as healthy as we can. See how far we can go in the playoffs, maybe make some surprises here or there, just like we did last year, because I believe this team loves being underdogs too anyways. But at this point, it's just for me, to try to develop people. So at that point, let MPJ just play through these mistakes he makes. I know even when I watch, I get very infuriated with it, but I can live with it because I know he has to go through these to get better. And until he does, he's not going to get better at being a player. Now, a lot of people have suggested he usually does play always better when he plays the 4. He might actually be our power forward.
Yeah, So then we have to find a small forward now.
Exactly. It's kind of annoying because it's easier for him to play defense right now at the power forward position because he's not guarding skilled defenders. Now, granted, all opposing teams do the right thing of making sure he gets involved in screen and pick and rolls and making sure he switches onto the best perimeter ball handler and player, which is fine on them. But again, that's something he just has to live through. But he does play better when he plays with the 4. With Will Barton coming back, he plays better at the 4. It's the same thing kind of with Jamal's resurgence. We have realized now that Jamal should always be playing shooting guard. Because that's what he's doing now, because Facu and Monte have been primarily running the point guard role when they are in there with him, and he's shooting guard, and he always plays well. Jamal Murray is just a shooting guard that happens to be in playing point guard.
Yeah, I almost feel like we should start Monte if Facu keeps playing like this, especially because he can run the bench and then Monte can run the starters.
They're definitely going to start doing some new lineups. I think that's also, you can't blame all of this just on the players. It's on Malone too. Malone's lineups have not been exceptionally well. There's been some times where you're like, why are you doing this? He brought back the 4-guard lineup. It did not go well. I don't like when he does it.
It never goes well.
I don't know why he keeps doing that lineup, but he does. There's some times where he takes Jokic and Jamal both off the court, and I'm like, why are you doing this? At least one of them should always be on there, even if Jokic is having a bad game. He's still doing some new rotations. Now, granted, he's got kind of a hard job right now with everyone out and trying to figure out rotations that are working again. But you got to know you got to always have Jokic or Jamal out there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But it is just a lot. Injuries were not fun for us to partake in right now. But it's just what we got to live with, and we got to live with it going into our next couple of games. The first one is against Portland tomorrow night on national TV. I think it's the second game on national TV. How do you see this going, knowing that they're actually playing pretty decently well? Damian's also now in the MVP talks because he's been having a really good stretch as of late. How do you see this game going?
Prove me wrong. It's a loss.
Yeah, I'm also going to say a loss because we have no one to guard Damian Lillard. We have Facu, I guess. That's not going to go well. Jamal can't do it. Or maybe he can prove me wrong, like Phil said. But I just don't see this game going well. They're playing pretty well right now. We're in a down stretch. Players are out. It's going to be tough either way. I just don't see this game going super well unless Nikola pops off for 40 or Jamal pops off for 40. One of the two. That's the only way I could see us winning this game. Otherwise, I would agree with Philip. I think this is a loss. Then the next game, I think, is on Thursday against the Wizards. This is a rematch of the game we should have won, and it's at home, I'm pretty sure. So how do you see this one going?
Win. You gotta win this. If you lose to this team again, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah, no, this is a game you gotta win because it's at home. Again, it's not an exceptionally well team. It's not a team you can take for granted. It's the same thing I said last time, and they better not do that because they already did it once. But we can run them out in altitude. They're going to be coming off a road trip. They'll be tired. I know we're missing players, but we don't need necessarily all of those defensive type of players to compete with the Wizards. The Wizards is definitely a team we could beat in a shootout if we had to. And I think that's all we have to do. I just think Jamal has to play well, MPJ has to play well, and Jokic has to play well, and 2 bench guys got to just show up, and we can win that game. So I also say win for this one. If we don't win this, that's going to be really bad, and there's going to be a lot of things to figure out at that point because that's embarrassing. You can't lose to the Wizards twice, especially at home. You just can't lose to them. So hopefully we win that game. I would hope so because
it's not really an excusable loss at this point.
I'd be depressed if we lost. That'd be a bad loss. And then the last one is against, again, another not so great team in the Oklahoma City Thunder. I don't know if Shea's still out. He was out the last time we played. He might still be out. But how do you see this game going against the Oklahoma City Thunder?
Shea played in their last game, so I'm assuming he'll be. They're playing right now too, and he is playing. So I'm assuming he'll be back. I'm gonna say win just because Jamal likes playing good point guards, and I think he'll play well.
He is a Canadian point guard against a Canadian point guard, so he would like to show up for that, and he has been playing well as of late. I'm gonna say win just because last time we played this team, Jokic absolutely torched them. Because they don't have anyone to guard Jokic anymore. There's no Steven Adams there. none of their centers can guard Jokic. I think Jokic is going to torch them, which will eventually hopefully lead to open buckets for the rest of the guys. So I'll say win. I think you should win this. It's a pretty daunting schedule just because of how many injuries we have, but it's still like, if we're a good team, which I believe we are, we still got to win those last 2 games.
Also, quick sidebar, how do you think Bol played yesterday?
Bol played fine. He came in. He has his defensive lapses still. He's just really slow. He's not quick on his feet. He can't even, he can't defend people off of the 3-point line. He's really bad at shuffling his feet and closing out. But he made some nice buckets. He just got to get a little bit bigger, just get a little bit stronger. I think also just get more playing time. Mm-hmm. It's just like he goes out there and I think he doesn't want to mess up. He doesn't want to overextend himself on the offense. I think he sees all the times that Nikola gets upset at MPJ for taking bad shots or doing things that maybe MPJ shouldn't do. And Bol just looks at it and is like, I don't want to get yelled at, so I'm just going to pass the ball to the guys who should get the ball, which is not a bad thing, but sometimes you want him to shoot a 3, hit some buckets. But yeah, that game was just overall nobody played defense. And it's bad. It's really bad to not have any of your defenders. But overall, I would say decently well. He just needs G League. We did get the G League team.
We bought a G League.
Yeah, so we got I forget which one, Iowa or one of the teams.
No, it's the Detroit team.
Okay, so we got one of the G League teams. We got them. We have an official G League team now. So next year we can actually send people to G League, not just affiliates. We can actually have a full-out G League team, which will be great for not only developing our young talent, which we have a shit ton of, but also just getting undrafted players to go in there. And who knows, maybe you can get a surprise undrafted guy coming out of that G League. It has happened a couple times. I wouldn't be shocked if it still happens. The G League is a great way to develop players. I'm glad we did it. And I think the main reason we did is because we talked about it last week. We can't send anyone to G League right now. Mm-hmm. They're in a bubble in Orlando. None of our players are going because I guess coronavirus policies, and we don't have an official G League team. I think that was what officially pushed them over to getting a G League team. So hopefully next year we can actually, once we extend Bol on hopefully a very minimal deal, we can send him to G League to actually develop, send RJ to G League to develop, send Zeke too. I would like to see those guys just get a lot of reps, even though thankfully that's the bright spot of these injuries. Mm-hmm. Those guys are getting reps now, so at least they're getting to play. They're getting to learn how to play basketball, NBA style basketball, and they're gaining experience. That's the only thing that and Jamal playing well are the only things I'm getting solace of this past week, probably, because it's been a terrible past week for us. But yeah, it's nice that we got G League team. That is the news we forgot to mention up top. But other than that, I think that's everything we have for this week. So we each had us going 2-1.
Yep.
Beating the teams we should beat. Are you okay if we went 1-2 or, well, I guess just 1?
Depends on against. If we, no, I'm not.
I was like, I don't know if you would be happy.
No, I'm not. If you go 1-2, the only silver lining would be beating Portland, but that still means we lose to 2 horrible teams.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I would like to go 2-1. 3-0 seems like a stretch, but it's not impossible because we do have talented players, but we need them to really ball out tomorrow. But we'll see how it goes. Overall, I would say, Nuggets fans, please just relax.
Be patient. Be patient.
Again,
we need to get healthy, and then we can start criticizing this team.
Yeah, it's like, oh, why are we so bad this year? It's like we don't have 4 of our defenders. So our defense is out.
The defense is gone.
It's like if you had football, you just took the whole defense out and just had them going out with nothing out there. All of our defenders are out. It's not going well, but just relax. Hopefully, once people get healthy, I just need people to realize that we're not going to have a high seed this year.
Yeah, we're not.
That's not going to be a case, which is fine. I think we got spoiled a little bit by having the 2nd seed 2 years in a row. That's not going to happen this year. Now, granted, I think we're only 6 games behind of 4th. That's what we should be shooting for at this point. Hopefully, we can get 4th.
It's actually only 3.5.
Okay, so we're only 3.5 games back from 4th, so that's even better. that's what we should be shooting for. We're not going to get probably a top 3 seed, and I think Nuggets fans just have to accept that and relax with what the reality is of this COVID-19 season that has been brought upon us. So just get used to it. But yeah, that's everything I think for us this week. If you liked the episode, make sure to like and subscribe, tell a friend, view us on all the other podcasting platforms, and we'll get back to you guys next week.
Go Nuggets.